So just a quick one about bar width and picking the right, or finding the right bar width for you. So I run 760 on my bike, I run 740 on my dirt jumper. It's a smaller bike. I ride a medium large, this is a medium large, so I'm kind of in between a medium and a large bike. I'm a medium sized guy. What I've been seeing lately is a lot of people are running really wide bars. Now the new bikes are coming spec with wider bars, so a lot of them are coming with 780 or 800 bars. The premise for that is they're giving you the choice to cut down the bars that they've stocked on the bike, instead of going, oh, this bike came with 750 bars, I want 760s or 770s, so I'm going to nick these bars off, get myself a fresh pair and cut them to what I want. The idea is they come with a wider bar. That's the bar that they think works with the bike well. You trim it to suit. You don't just go, oh, it's an 800 bar, so they want me to ride an 800 bar. For what we ride, downhill and enduro, any sort of trail riding really, you're going to be doing reasonably high speeds, so you want the stability of a wider bar. So you're not going to go a 700 bar or a 720 bar. 680 used to be the norm. I remember when I got my first bike, I believe they came with a 680 bar, which was, you know, we didn't really know better back then. The wider you go, the more stable it is. And then you get the diminishing returns of the wider you go, the more bars and rocks and things that stick out off the side of the trail that you're susceptible to hit. So you've got to find that balance. For people who ride a large bike, larger people, generally between 760 and 780 would be your sweet spot, depending on your build as well. But generally speaking, it's not completely correct, but generally speaking, if you ride a large, you're probably between 760 and 780 to 800 wide bars. 800 for the really tall guys and really broad set guys, but even then, you're really wide and you're going to be clipping a lot of stuff on the way down those tighter trails. So I don't think the benefit of the stability that you get from that width and that steering that you get from that width is going to outdo the restrictions you're going to get through tight trails, and the danger that you come across for clipping your hands, breaking fingers when you're clipping trees, things like that, because your hands are really out there on those 800s. So if you're a smaller person, I'm about a medium-sized guy, I run 760. I've experimented with 780, 800 briefly. I really didn't like the 800s. There was way too much for me to do on the 800s. They were just too wide for me. Lifting the bike, bunny hopping the bike was really hard on the shoulders. When I rode 780s, I found it felt really good, but again, with the bunny hopping, it felt like I was pulling my shoulders out a little bit. I wasn't in a good position to create force on bunny hops. It took a lot of effort. 770, better again, still a little bit, not too good. 760 was perfect. I rode 760 for quite a while, and then I went to 750, looking for a little bit more clearance through trees and whatnot. I like the 750, but cost me a little bit of stability. I like that feeling of really being able to balance on the handlebars, and especially around corners and whatnot, having those hands in that position. 760 feels like it's right for my size. I run 740 on my dirt jumper. It's a smaller bike, so I don't feel like I need that wide stability. You never get the dirt jumper up to speeds that I get this thing up to, so it's not as much of a deal. I could ride 760s on there quite easily, but I'm happy with what it's got, 740. But if you're, riding a medium bike or even a small bike, I've seen small bikes coming out now with 780 bars and 800 bars. If you've got a new bike and it came out with bars like that and you're really not sure where you're at with it, whether you should trim it or, it's going to make the bike sketchy if you trim it shorter, don't panic. 760, 750, anywhere between that 750 to 770, 780 range is going to be good depending on your size. So if you're small, 750 is probably your go, 740, 750. Most of the girls out there can probably get away with anywhere between 740 and 760. Anything wider, you're going to start affecting your ability to bunny hop and whatnot, and maybe doing some damage to your shoulders. If you're my size, I'm 174 centimeters tall. My wingspan's not huge, it's average. 760, anywhere from 750 to 770. if you're riding a large and you're a large dude, 180 centimeters or so, start at about 770, 780 and see how that goes for you. But what I'm seeing is everybody's running bars that are too wide. You want the clearance, so clearance should be your number one priority when you're looking to find bar width. So if you've got 800 bars, oh, they feel heap stable, but I don't have the clearance. I'd rather the stability than the clearance. Forget the stability. You're still going to have stability at 760. I'm pretty sure Troy Brosnan runs, I think he's around the 750, anywhere between 740, 760. I remember he was running 740 for a brief moment there. Some enduro guys are running 740s. Now they're the top of the charts racers and they're not running super wide bars, so it's not a necessity. Have a think about it. Chop them down. If you're my size, chop them down to 770. If it still feels like it's a little bit wide, chop them down a little bit more, 760. You'll be fine. It'll be super comfortable and you'll have that little bit extra clearance, and after a few rides or a few months of riding like that, you really appreciate that clearance. So just my thoughts on it, and the roll of your bars as well. So if you've got your, sorry Seth, I like to set my roll of the bar, so whether it's this way or that way, I like to set the roll up almost identical to what the rake of the fork is doing, or what that angle of the fork's doing. Too far back, and when you have big nose dives or any sort of front end problems or steep stuff on steep trails, when they're rolled too far back, I feel like my hands almost want to slide over the bars, like there's nothing to push against. They contour too much like this, so you're pushing across like that. I want the bar contouring like this, so I'm pushing into it. And the same, if you roll it too far forward, it makes cornering feel sketchy, and it makes it feel almost like you've got a longer stem on your bike, which makes the front end twitchy. And the design of the bars, the sweep, you're kind of taking the sweep away, and you're making it a little bit foreign and a little bit awkward. So get that bar roll as close as you can to the way the fork works, and then fine tune it from there. So set that up in the car park or at home, and then go out, find a set of corners, 2 or 3 corners that you can just repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat, and just fine tune it. Go back a little bit with your bar. Oh, it felt pretty good, but I feel like I was too far over the back of the bike. Forward a little bit. Oh, it felt pretty good, but it was sketchy on the front end. Back a tiny little bit from there. Oh, it felt crisp. Do a few more. Oh, yeah, it's crisp. Oh, no, I could go back a little bit further. Get familiar with what it feels like to be rolled too far forward and rolled too far back. Just as a point of reference, when I crashed at Anstey's Hill, I was actually experimenting with having my bars rolled back a little further to force me over the back of the bike a bit more. Now, when I went OTB, so I've come off a jump, I dropped, back ends clipped the rock, and I've gone face first. Now, when I landed, when my front wheel landed into the ground, I felt like I had nothing under my hands to stop me from going over, and that's, that might be why I went over, because of that bar roll. Now, I did the same, pretty much the identical crash on the weekend at the Geezer race, the Gravity Enduro race. There's a video of it actually, it's pretty funny. And I believe the one thing that stopped me was having my bars in the right spot. So I was at the point of no return. I was almost out the front door, and those bars gave me just enough to support all my weight, put all my weight into it, and squat into the bike as I was landing, and it just allowed me to ride it out and then crash it to the side. So bar roll super important, and bar width. Don't go too wide. You're only going to pay for it clipping trees and whatnot and hurting your shoulders.